Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. I wanted to share a story that will probably be a little bit gross to you, but I want you to get past that part and understand why I took the time to tell you what probably is one of the most disgusting things you've ever heard come out of my mouth. It has to do with this sister that was dating a guy down in Atlanta, and they were having a relationship. They were really getting close, and she thought that was her boyfriend, or she felt like he was, which I guess he was. I don't know. Well, like a lot of people, he wasn't completely honest about everything he was doing. He was sleeping around, right? And not only was he sleeping around, but he was sleeping with men. And one day she goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, "You have an infection, in your you know what." And she didn't understand it. I think that she was monogamous, and she was a college student. I think she'd only been, maybe 19 years old or so. And the doctor then told her that the nature of the infection came from the fact that there was feces, like I guess on a microscopic level or something, that was inside her vagina, like literal feces, stuff that comes out of your butt, right? And so it turned out that this guy she was dating was sleeping with her and sleeping with men at the same time. But not only was he sleeping with men, he was sleeping with men unprotected. And not only was he sleeping with men and sleeping with them unprotected, apparently he wasn't washing off completely before he went to go sleep with her too. And so I share this story just to say that it's really important to try your best to take your time to get to know people before you give them access to you. Before you give them access to your body, before you give them access to your life, before you give them access to your money, before you give them access to all the things that matter to you. A lot of people, there are a lot of deceptive people in the world, and it's not so much about being deceptive because I guess I believe that human beings have a right to privacy, and I don't know if anybody believes they have the right to know everything somebody else is doing, and even if you think you have the right to know, you usually don't know. I mean, if you don't have a daddy at home telling you this, I'm just gonna tell you, people lie, men lie, women lie. Women just be like, oh, I don't sleep with nobody, and she got two or three guys on speed dial. The man be like, oh, girl, I'm for you and you only, and he's got some other plans. But the thing about it, what I figured out is what matters most a lot of times in relationships is not so much whether or not you know every single thing that another person is doing. We tend to link that to trustworthiness, like like you're a bad person if you do something and you don't tell me. I mean, and I don't know if I agree with that assessment entirely because most people just ain't gonna tell you all their business. They're not gonna tell you every single thing about it. Because like T.D. Jakes said, when you date a person, you're not dating them, you're dating their representative. You're dating the person that they need, that they feel they need to be in order to maintain your affection. So if they know that they're going to lose you by being honest with you, sometimes people won't tell you everything. They'll tell you stuff, but they might not tell you everything. So what I have learned over time is that it's not so much about me knowing everything about what you're doing. Instead, it's more so me about me knowing who you are as a person. Um, how you think. Uh, how careful are you? Are you a person that has something to lose? To the point where you're going to be cautious about your own life. Are you a person that, even if you are into a situation that I don't know anything about, are you a person that cares enough about yourself to be careful, or do you care enough about me to at least respect me to not, you know, give me a disease or just do something reckless? Because in that particular example with the girl in Atlanta, the cheating part is the part that's probably the least in terms of the least violating of the whole situation. Um, you know what really got me about that story was not so much just the cheating; it was the serious lack of respect. The lack of respect for her body and the lack of respect for himself. You run around Atlanta of all places. It really is true in any city, not just Atlanta, New York. It could be any city. You run around and you have an unprotected sex like crazy, which tells me that maybe you have an addiction or something that you haven't controlled. You have a desire that you haven't learned to keep balance. And I'm gonna tell you, man, ladies, seriously, this is for the ladies. Like, if a man cannot have some degree of sexual discipline, just know he's setting himself up to go down. You know, we live in the Me Too era. If you out here just wilding out constantly and raw dogging and going crazy, eventually somebody's gonna, you know, blast you, attack you, whatever, accuse you of something. So people, but again, it's a matter of also being realistic. You know, sex was designed because human beings are supposed to have sex. There's nothing wrong with sex, in my opinion. I think we live in a society where we get too rigid and strict about it. But at the same time, I think you know, there's a responsibility required. And so my final point of advice, this is just me speaking from OG status, is to say take your time to get to know people. Watch how they move. You know, watch how they think. Pay attention to how they deal with risk. You know, pay attention to whether or not they respect you when they're away from you or when they're with you. You know, it just all these little things make a difference in terms of knowing a person's character. If you know their character, then you might say, okay, I don't know what you might have done when I wasn't around, but I know your character enough to know that there are certain boundaries that I don't believe you would cross. Right. So that's it. That's my 2 cents. I actually wrote a book on money and relationships because you know I'm a financial expert. It's called Financial Lovemaking. I'm sure it's out there. It might be on Amazon or somewhere, something like that. Also, we did make a movie about relationships called The Black Love Blueprint. If you guys want to go see the trailer, go to theblackloveblueprint.com. That's theblackloveblueprint.com. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. If you want a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. I'm out of here, guys. I'll see you soon. Be good. Peace.